Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to you. I am very excited to introduce myself. My name is Deep Sir. I am from Balagada, Andhra district, Andhra Pradesh. Currently, I am pursuing MSc in Chemistry in Sri Venkateswara University, Tirupati. And as an enthusiastic chemistry graduate, I was seeking a position of chemistry teacher. I can teach chemistry up to class 12 for students who are preparing for IIT, JEE, mains, NEET and state board exams. I have skills of teaching chemistry in easy way and understandable way and making the students of ability to problem solving in no time. And as of now, if we come to the content, I can mainly we know that chemistry is divided into three main topics: organic chemistry, inorganic chemistry, physical chemistry. If we go to the organic chemistry, as I will start from the basic concepts and techniques of the organic chemistry, and then we will go to the nomenclature, functional groups like alcohols, phenols, esters, acids, nitro groups, amines, all these reactivity, function, properties, everything about this, and hydrocarbons, general organic chemistry, haloarenes, haloalkanes, everything in detail about organic chemistry. And if we go to inorganic chemistry, we know periodic table, chemical bonding, S block elements, P block elements, D block elements, F block elements. We will go through all the topics in inorganic chemistry. If we go to physical chemistry, I will start from atomic structure, atomic and molecular structure, gaseous state, liquid state, solid state, and where chemical kinetics, thermodynamics, chemical equilibrium, electrochemistry. I will go through all the topics thoroughly. And if you see how I will teach my the topic, my teaching way is I will start from the basic concepts. Let's take a topic chemical kinetics. I'll start from the basic topic, basic concept of that topic, and I'll go through all the topics thoroughly in that unit. And I'll cover all the MCQs and objective type questions which are related to the topic from easy level to hard level. How and I'll teach the student how to approach the problem and thinking ability and time killing strategies. All this I will cover all the things for every topic. If we go to the content, let's discuss a small topic known as chemical bonding. For instance, as we know, in the name itself we are seeing chemical bonding. Chemical bond. What is a chemical bond? First of all, chemical bond, the attractive or the attractive force which holds the chemical species is known as chemical bonding. I'll repeat. The attractive force which holds the atoms or ions in a chemical species is known as chemical bond. That's the meaning of chemical bond. In chemical bonding, chemical bonds are of two types: strong bond, weak bond. If we see how we will say that is strong bond and weak bond, let's consider if we can say a strong bond when the bond energy of that bond is above 42 kilojoule per mole, then it is known as strong bond. If we go to weak bond, if the bond energy of that bond is less than 8 kilojoule per mole, 8 kilojoule per mole, then it is known as weak bond. The strong bonds are of four types: ionic bond, covalent bond, coordinate bond, metallic bond. If we go through the ionic bond, the ionic bond means the transfer of electron from one atom to another atom, mainly from one electronegative atom to taking a electron from another electropositive atom, then it is known as ionic bond. I will repeat: the transfer of electron from one atom to another atom to form a bond is known as ionic bond. These bonds, why these bonds are? These bonds are formed to attain the stability in atmosphere, in environment. These bonds are. For ionic bond, let's take the example of NaCl. We can see in NaCl, the Na, sodium metal, sodium element will lose one electron to form to attain its inert state. And as we will see chlorine wants an electron to attain its inert state. So these both combine to form their inert molecule. That's why it is ionic bond. Then we go to covalent bond. In covalent bond, the sharing of electrons takes place. It is known as covalent bond. And if we go to coordinate bond, a single atom shares the electrons. The sharing of electrons from a single atom is known as coordinate bond. We commonly nitrogen element forms coordinate bond, and it forms ammonia. In the ammonium ion, forms coordinate bond with hydrogen. And if we go to metallic bond, as in the name we see metal, the four bonds in metals, as we can say the definition, C of electrons in electropositively charged ions. C of electrons present in electropositively charged ions is known as metallic bonds. These are mainly conducts electricity because of their rotations and their roaming in the electropositive between the electropositive ions. And if we go to the weak bonds are of two types: hydrogen bonding, van der Waals forces. If we come to van der Waals forces, let's take in van der Waals forces, starting line, ion dipole forces, dipole forces, induced ion forces, dipole induced forces, induced dipole forces. All these five types of forces are there in van der Waals forces. Van der Waals forces are the weakest bonds in all of them. Firstly, we will go to ion dipole forces. Let's take ion dipole forces. Ion dipole forces. The meaning of ion dipole forces is the attraction or they exist in ions, as we know anions or cations. In between ions and dipole forces, dipole in polar molecules. They exist in between ions and polar molecules are called ion dipole forces. If, for example, we will take Na plus ion, and then polar molecule H2O. Then it forms a bond by evaluating the charges on it. In Na we will get the positive charge, and then in the H2O molecule we will get the positive and negative charges. And if we go to dipole forces, in dipole they exist in two polar molecules. In two polar molecules, let's take polar molecules like HCl and HCl. They form the bonds in between them by raising the partial charges. Let's take ion induced dipole forces. Ions, we know anions or cations will form attraction with induced dipole. Induced dipole means in the word itself it has induced. Induced means these ions will induce a charge on that molecules, and induced means non-polar molecules. They do not have any charges. These ions will induce the charges by forming partial positive and negative charges. So the ions will form partial positive. Let's take ion as sodium Na plus, and then here the Cl2. They partial positive and negative will form, and then the bond will form. And then if we go to induced dipole forces, both are induced. So these exist in both non-polar molecules. So by forming the partial positive and negative charges, these forms the bonds. And the finally last one, induced dipole forces. Dipole means polar molecules exist and non-polar molecules forms bond. Exist between polar and non-polar molecules. This is dipole induced dipole. Example, let's take a polar molecule as HCl and the non-polar as Cl2. Thus in Cl2 the partial positive and negative will form and the bond will form. And then if you go to hydrogen bond, what is hydrogen bond? Hydrogen bond, the formation of hydrogen bond, which in which hydrogen directly attached to electronegative element, attracted to electronegative element, high electronegative element, like fluorine, oxygen, nitrogen, mainly. In some cases, you'll get it also forms with direct bond with carbon and chlorine.